Welcome to The Value Shot. I'm Jeffrey D. Brown, publisher and editor of Guitar Business World. Now, these 16 original episodes were featured at the back of the show on Guitar Business Radio, where I talked about some basic foundational building blocks that you can use to help drive your business or career to the next level. Those segments have now been edited and repackaged for presentation here on GBW. They're short and full of simple but really powerful ideas you can put to use right now. I suggest listening to them in sequence to get the most out of them. So let's get to it. So in episode 1, I spoke about something we use at Guitar PR in virtually every aspect of anything that even resembles something having to do with marketing and sales. I'm talking about the 3 C's, and like I said before, I don't know that this is original to me, but I do know that it works. Just to review, the 3 C's are simply capture the attention, convey the message, compel the action. I'm going to delve into each one of these areas one at a time over several episodes, and today I want to get into capturing the attention. Now, there's tons of stuff written about this topic and the others as well. Some of it is useful and interesting. In many cases, however, I find them to be overcomplicated. This is a condition I also mentioned in episode 1. I like simple, and I'm going to keep this as simple as possible. You're welcome to complicate it as much as you want, but I would always caution you to do so at your own peril. So what are the ways we get attention? I mean, in business. Again, I like sets of 3 where possible, and my 3 ways are visual, verbal, and written. Now, I've seen other folks list a whole litany of these things, but I would still suggest that they ultimately all roll up into just these 3 categories. So let's think in those terms for the moment. Whatever communication medium you're using, that's going to dictate the particular combination of these 3 methods. Similar to checking the boxes of the 3 C's, I said that in the last episode, we essentially do the same thing as we drill into each of these sub-methods. Now, this is an important part of the process. Get in the habit of checking the boxes. It's a simple way to improve your odds and increase your chances of success, whatever you're endeavoring to accomplish. And keep in mind, most of what I'm telling you here and now and later in this segment, even if it sounds like I'm talking about your business, many of these ideas are certainly applicable to other areas of your life. And this is because they're based on simple principles that come from the core. Something I talked about in the trailer for this show, which you can still listen to. I'm into these foundational things, and I'm afraid you're going to hear a lot of that. Now, let's talk a little bit about visual methods. On the creative side, I'm kind of an out-of-the-cage, slightly off-center thinker. When I'm developing imagery, I naturally tend to move toward, provocative, humorous, and often just purely emotional images. And these images may at times seem completely disconnected from the pitch, which is okay, as long as you can quickly tie it together with a written or spoken element that's going to connect it to the message that you want to convey. We'll talk about messaging in another episode. But when I'm talking about visual methods, this includes static images, photos, video, anything you can see. Keep in mind, in most, not all, but most situations, there's very little time to make the connection and have any influence. Whatever the visual is, it's got to do its work fast. With the second method that I refer to as verbal, I would also add a slash in the word audio, simply because a piece of music or some great guitar playing, these may also be obvious attention grabbers. But this method can and does often stand alone, but it's typically used in conjunction with a visual component, most commonly as part of the attention process, and then ultimately in conveying the message. Finally, getting attention through written words. Usually, this is through headlining and subheads. From my vantage point, I use headlines much the same strategic way that I do with visual methods, except with an additional component that I think of just as reality. And I would describe that as a factual statement that is both powerful and engaging. Something like, ABC Medical announces cure for diabetes. That may not be of interest to you, but I can guarantee you for 30 million Americans, or I think about 400 million worldwide, that's going to get their attention. and definitely draw them in to get the message. Okay, so that may seem like an extreme example, although I think it's coming, but that's often the best way to demonstrate the concept. There's not very much ambiguity in doing that. So clearly, I'm deliberately not going into greater detail on any of this stuff at this time. I think that would be overcomplicating things unnecessarily. But getting used to hearing about these fundamental ideas and simple methods will serve as part of your foundation for better marketing for your business, for your employment, or your professional activities now and down the road. In the next episode, I'll talk more about messaging, but in the meantime, stay positive, stay focused on the destination, and keep all the options open on how to get there. Well, I hope you got some value from that, but I do want to emphasize again the need to listen in sequence. And just so you know, there are brand new episodes of The Value Shot on the way, so be sure you're subscribed to Guitar Business World here on Substack to get those as well as new editorial features and valuable resources. As always, we love to hear from you with questions or thoughts. You can contact us directly at guitarbusiness@substack.com. guitarbusiness@substack.com. I'm Jeffrey D. Brown. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.